they had a $6 million tax increase. They were supposedly $6 million short. So they presented to the public for a $6 million tax increase. Now, you know, they forgot to mention they were short $6 million for the year, and the $6 million would be every year thereafter. But the public, saying we can't turn away the sick and the elderly, voted on the $6 million tax increase. Well, a federal auditor, retired of 30 years, he looked at the health care program's financial statement. He called me back immediately and said, Walter, they invested in one shot $35 million in the local government investment pool. By investing $35 million in the local government investment pool, that's what created the $6 million shortfall in their operating funds. If they had not invested $35 million with the local government investment pool, they would have had a $29 million surplus for the year.
So, again, the classic thing we hear on the local news in Austin, got to have a massive, $300 million tax increase or bond proposal for the schools or they'll be shut down. Got to spend all the tax money for Capital Metro, a few $100 million extra year, or that'll be shut down. We got to spend a few extra $100 million, or there won't be potholes getting filled and emergency radios in the ambulances and fire trucks. This is the same thing all over the country. I've seen the stories. The people go, I'm paying a lot of taxes. I'm in the hole. I may have to sell my bass boat. I may have to get into the college tuition because all these property taxes and sales taxes and all these other fines and fees. But damn it, we'll do it for the kids, for the old people, for the education, for the potholes, when they had money to pave the streets literally in gold.
And they laughed all the way down to the bank.
So boiling it down for the simple minds out there, and I'm not being sardonic, I'm not being patronizing to you, condescending, but I have to be honest with some of the viewers. They're going, but we got a huge deficit. Federal government's got a $5 trillion, $500 billion deficit. I heard it on the news. Walter, the numbers I've crunched are off the government's own sites on the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. Anybody can go there on the web. Federal government. They don't hide this stuff. They just know the media won't cover it, so you won't listen out there. They've got this $30+ trillion cream at the top. $30+ trillion cream. Just with the federal government, the states and the counties and the cities have more. This racket is everywhere. You talk about Pima County in Tucson. That was just with a hospital fund from the city where they spend, invest this $30+ million, so they have a budgetary shortfall of $6 million. Don't tell you about that. With the federal government, we hear all the time, well, we have this deficit, so we got to tighten our belts. We have to have a tax increase. We can't even have a tax cut. That's really what's driving this fraud, is people thinking we're in financial trouble when there's really giant surpluses.
What's driving the fraud is the easy ability to build phenomenal empires just by structuring it and implementing it with the public sitting there saying, is there something going on? Not having the foggiest clue. And being that the public left the vault door open for the last 45, 50 years, phenomenal empires have been built, large and small.
Well, I want to explain something that we closed the radio program today with. We've got plenty of time now. You're going to be with us for probably another 40 minutes or so as we tape this program. But the point I wanted to make here is, Walter, I didn't believe you 2 years ago. I went and I checked this stuff out. You're a conservative guy. You're in there about the numbers, the facts, financial planner.
Commodity trading advisor.
Yeah, commodity trading advisor. You're sitting there looking at this. It's so big. It's like an elephant in the living room. It's hard to even discuss. It's like the simplest things. A lot of people can't even grasp it. But you said it. And it's funny. I'll have the CEO of Taurus Firearms on, the fourth largest gun manufacturer, and I'll say, Mr. Morrison, are you aware that the United Nations is taking over the gun manufacturers and that that this attack on the Second Amendment is from the UN? He goes, yes, I've been at State Department meetings. I thought he would laugh at me. This is a major CEO of a $100 billion company. He says, Alex, he says, it's absolutely amazing. He said, they're coming in, and I've been at tables with the UN at the State Department with other CEOs, and they say, we're shutting down the gun manufacturers. Either you join us and sell out to us, or your business is gone. It's all over for you. Andrew Cuomo of HUD threatening him, threatening all these other CEOs. He said it was organized crime. He said he thought he was in Nazi Germany. Then you talk about how in 1946, 1945, same year the UN is set up in this country runs the New World Order. It's not coming after us. We are it. We're the slaves right inside Rome. That they set up the 1313 patch out of Chicago, same year as they set up the UN, to formalize and standardize the National Association of Counties, the National Association of Cities, the National Association of Governors.
And in 46, they created the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report.
And then they created the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. So it looks normal. It looks standard. Hey, everybody's doing it. And then they go in and buy up all the corporations with our tax money and build their own empires and control it. You have the communism and the socialism publicly being funded by the Rockefellers to consolidate power overseas, where they couldn't take people down, where monarchies wouldn't play ball with them. I mean, it's the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again, and now it's all coming together. It's all coming down. You talked about how you crunched the numbers of the states with the highest tax rates, the biggest governments, the biggest surpluses, with gun laws. Tell the viewers about that.
About 4 years ago, I did a little chart comparison. I looked at states with the least stringent gun laws, and I looked at the states with the most oppressive gun laws. I made a chart, least at one end, most oppressive on the other end. I then looked at the states with the most taxes, fines, and fees levied per populace, and the state with the least taxes, fines, and fees levied. Put them in order, made a chart. Well, guess what? If you put the charts back to back, an exact parallel. The more taxes, fines, and fees extorted from the populace, the most oppressive gun laws possible. The least amount of taxes, fines, and fees extorted from the populace in a state, the most lax on the gun laws. Exact parallel.
Elaborate on that.
Well, if you go into a state where, like Vermont or Montana, very low taxation, least oppressive, even though they're catching up with everybody else, they had very lax gun laws. If you go into a state like New Jersey, where the public is being extorted from any which angle and shape and form from all areas of government, city, county, and state, and the police and the judicial, maximum fines, you have the most stringent gun laws possible in this country.
So it's simple. With financial slavery, with total governmental/private fraud in basic fascist collusion, with this type of development, you're going to have a disarmed population. Hence, Hitler was for gun control. Stalin was for gun control. Mao, they disarmed the slaves. Hence, the United Nations is for gun control, because it was founded by the very banking interests that now run this nation, that run this world, openly funded by them, the same people that set up Patch 1313 in Chicago to start the National Association of Counties, the National Association of Cities, of Governors, of Mayors, of County Commissioners, to standardize the policies.
And here's a very dangerous point, Alex, being that they have already accomplished control and ownership of the wealth of this country from the public now becomes a liability. So it is in their interest right now to eliminate a good chunk of the public. Because they now own the wealth. They control the wealth of this country.
I was on some of the financial sites, Morgan Stanley, Dean Witter, and others this weekend doing research on that. And they have composite indexes on there, what the fastest growing part of the economy is. Until a month and a half ago, it was still tech stocks, the internet. Number two had always been prison industry. Walter, it's now number one. They're building prisons everywhere. They're militarizing the police.
If you look at the prison industry and the court system, it is the most profitable corporation in this country. The court system and the prison system generates more money than 10 of the largest Fortune 500 companies in this country.
Put together. And that's another public number. I mean, folks, the fact is they have